Hello everyone. I just wanted to do my demonstrative speech on a cactus painting. It may look pretty simple, but for me it is very indicative of my self-care. I have chosen to paint as a self-care outlet since I've started working in the hospice field, and it really helps me express myself, and I am able to kind of put my thoughts and feelings onto paper through painting without actually having to share with somebody what I'm actually feeling, because not everybody understands. So I have a pre-painted cactus right here just to show you what my goal is at the end. So I am going to show you step by step how to paint a cactus and then add some of the extras on it. So I am going to show you the ingredients I have. So this water is already dirty since I painted the cactus already as an example. So you want 2 paintbrushes, a cup of water, acrylic paint. So whatever colors you choose, you need acrylic paint. You need a paper towel, washcloth, whatever it is that you would like to use, and then you want a bowl or a plate to dispense your paint into. So what I'm going to do first is taking my brush out of the water, and I want to dab it off. I don't want a lot of excess water going into my paint because I don't want to make watercolors. I want it to still be pretty thick, but have the brush have some flexibility and not be too dry. So first step I'm going to do is dip my moistened brush into, first I'm going to use the yellow paint. I'm going to dab it into the yellow paint, and then I'm going to dip it into the green paint. And the first thing I'm going to do shape-wise is make an almond. Why am I making an almond shape? Well, a lot of cactuses are shaped like almonds. So there's my almond shape. And next to my almond shape, I'm going to add another little shape off to the side. Looks like a little Mickey Mouse ear, but like this, you're gonna see that it's going to actually look like cactus. So then I'm going to add a little shape on top of that third circle that I drew. And you can even add more cactus parts to your cactus. You don't have to have just the 3. So we can add another almond shape to the side. And then we can add another one on the other side too. Whatever you want to do, it's your painting. So now that we kind of have our base shape of the cactus we want to paint, we're going to go ahead and fill in these shapes. And when you start out pretty light, because you'll be able to add layers on top to make it look the way you actually want it to look. So I dipped it into the yellow and the green again on my paintbrush, and I'm going to fill in the cactus. See, there's no really rhyme or reason to what I'm doing as far as the painting goes at this point. We just want to fill it in and make sure that no white is showing. Okay, and I'm actually going to add a little shape onto this one as well. Okay, so now that we have the basic cactus format layout sort of thing, I'm going to go back over and add darker green into the areas that I want to differentiate between the two, or the different shapes. So see how I'm adding a little bit darker to kind of signify that there's a shadow. I'm dabbing my paintbrush into just plain green. It doesn't have any yellow mixed in with it. My cactus at this point kind of looks like an avocado, but it will look more cactusy towards the end. Add. And I always kind of focus on the lower left side for my shadowing, and I think it's just a habit because I'm right-handed, so I think that that is where I automatically go to shadow. But you see how it differentiates the shapes so they all don't blend together. So now that I have the shadowing, I'm going to go back in and put a little bit of lightened areas on the sides that it could look like the sun is shining onto the cactus. I'm doing yellow, white, and green to add a little highlight. And the interesting thing is every time I paint my cactus, it's always different. Even if I use the same colors, the same layout, the same style, the colors always seem to look a little different on the final product. And that's okay. That's what makes it fun and exciting for me. This piece I put was pretty yellow, so I'm actually adding a little more green to darken it up a bit and blend that. So the avocados might start looking like a little bit more of a cactus at this point, which is what we're hoping for. So I'm obviously not a professional painter by any means, but this is definitely something I use for self-care. My grandma was a painter, not a professional one, but definitely enjoyed it as a hobby. And up until she passed away from cancer, she was doing painting flowers, she painted beautiful homes, things like that. That was her self-care to get her through her cancer process. So I am just grateful enough to be able to express myself in the same way she did, and I'm also pretty grateful that I absorbed and kind of retained some of her craftiness. So I've dipped my brush into my water to rinse it off, and the next thing I'm going to do is paint the blossoms on top of the cactus. And you don't have to do blossoms on every cactus. You can choose whatever one you want to add it to. So I've rinsed my brush and I've dabbed it onto the paper towel so it's not creating watercolors. And I'm actually going to use purple, blue, and white. And I'm going to show you my technique. I don't just paint a flower. I don't make it very obvious with the petals. I kind of do a dabbing, a stippling kind of effect for my flowers. So I'm going to do my flower on this main portion right here in the middle, and I'm just dabbing it on the paper, off the paper, on, off. And I don't want it to be like a perfectly petaled rose or daisy. I want it to look kind of stippled and kind of messy because not all flowers are just perfectly placed every time you do them. I'm going to add a flower over onto this section just with that dipping. And then maybe on the top of this one. So there are my flowers, and I have the purple, so now I'm gonna dip my brush into blue because it's okay if the two colors run together. And if you get too much, you can dab it onto your plate or your bowl that you're using. So I'm gonna add some blue into that purple. And I'll do a little bit of a close-up with the video so you can see how it looks close up too. So I added a little more blue on this last flower. And the last thing I'm going to do is add some white in the center of it. So it kind of gives it what they call an ombre effect, where it goes light to dark. So light as in the white, blue is in the middle, and then purple as the darker color. So now that the flowers are on the cactus, I'm actually going to go in with my second brush, which was in the water. So I'm going to dab the excess water off, and I'm using this little paintbrush to do the spines on the cactus. I actually just learned that the prickly parts of a cactus are called spines. So I've dipped my little paintbrush into the black paint, and I'm going to add spines onto my cactus. And there's no rhyme or reason to how these spines are placed, but you do want to make sure that you're not putting too many on the cactus because it kind of detracts from the actual painting. Now it's looking a little more like a cactus, right? Or a prickly pickle, whatever you want to say, but in the end it's going to be really beautiful. And I think that's what I like about painting the most, is that there isn't a rhyme or reason, and whether you enjoy this type of artwork or not, someone's going to love it, and if it makes me feel better, it's totally worth it. Kind of an abstract cactus. And then the last thing I'm going to do for the cactus is actually, I'm going to take my brown paint, which wasn't in my palette. It was kind of a last minute idea I just decided to do. But I want to put this cactus in a pot. So I'm going to pour my brand new brown paint. There we'll go. We'll just open the lid. So I'm going to pour my brown paint into the middle of this, and I poured way too much, but that's okay. And I'm going to create a pot for my cactus. So it doesn't matter what shape, size, color, whatever you want to do for your pot, you can do whatever. Let's be realistic. If it's a rounded bottom, it probably won't sit. So I'm going to square out the bottom a tiny bit. And then you just go in and fill the pot in. And I really like using this bigger brush to paint with because it covers a lot more surface area than the little ones. And especially for this video's sake, I didn't want to take up all the time in the world. So I'm just going to get this pot painted, add a little decoration to it, and then you've got your cactus. And I chose cactus because I am a cactus connoisseur. I love cactus everything. Cactus kimonos, cover-up shirts, cactus jewelry, cactus everything. So painting a cactus is pretty near and dear to my heart, since that's kind of a hobby I have, is collecting them, and I have a couple in my office. So now that the pot is painted and it is drying fairly quickly, because this is actually paper, not canvas, I wanted to do something bigger so it would actually show better on the video. So I'm taking my small brush again, and I'm going to add some detail onto this pot. Like I said, I'm not a professional painter, so I apologize if things aren't perfectly symmetrical, but this is definitely something I enjoy. Okay, and then to do the dots that I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use the back side of the paintbrush, dip it in that white, and create little polka dots with the end of it. running out of paint towards the end. But there is basically what my cactus paintings I do for my self-care look like. I will show you a close-up real quick. So I hope you've enjoyed my cactus video, and I hope that this encourages you to express yourself in other ways for self-care, as we're all very busy people. So if you haven't explored painting as a self-care process, it is so very relaxing for me. So if you want to explore it, I don't think you'll regret it. Have a great day.